You know why I love this sauce? Because it requires a whole block of butter. Welcome back. And tonight it's steak and chips night. We're going to be serving it with a entrecôte sauce. God, there's nothing sexier than a pink piece of meat. Or just like a really well cooked steak. Entrecôte sauce, one of the most delicious steak sauces, in my opinion, other than like the peppercorn sauce and the jus. But it's a little bit tricky, so pay attention. I'm going to show you my tips and tricks on making this very famous sauce. Dice one shallot, nice and fine, and we're going to saute it in some butter. You don't want to get any colour on the shallot, you just want to saute it until it's nice and soft, and we get rid of that rawness. I turn this one right down low. And we just want to let that melt. Right, in a small blender, we're going to put in the fresh herbs. So in here, there is a handful of parsley, tarragon, basil, and some sage leaves from the garden. Next, about 10 capers, or a teaspoon, 5 walnuts, about a tin of anchovies. In goes half a nutmeg, a good dash of pepper, about half a lemon, taking the rind off, and it's ready to blend. What you'll end up with is this fine mixture. You definitely don't want to get a big piece of nut in your mouth. I'm going to add the shallot and butter mix into a larger blender because I did this on the smaller blender and I made a horrible mess. Lid on tight. And blend on a fast speed. Right, now we've got our blended sauce, we're going to make the next part of the sauce, which is a mayonnaise. So we're going to add in 1 egg yolk into a glass bowl, Dijon, Worcestershire sauce, and some white wine vinegar. Just a dash. And whisk that together first. Right. Now we get our green sauce and we're going to add that slowly, very slowly, to our mayonnaise base. If you add it in too fast, it's just going to split. It won't emulsify. A little tip and trick, if you're finding your bowl is moving around too much, what you can do is get a tea towel. I learned this in culinary school. And just wrap it around in a circle. Like so, and it creates like a nice secure base. Essentially just pour it in really slowly, continuously whisking. Then what we'll do, it will emulsify. So bringing that fat and the liquid together to a nice thick liquid, thick sauce. My wrist and arms are tired. I got no energy for later, darling. All right, so we've got basically our very green mayonnaise. And this is the bit that I always am a bit stumped. As a chef, I find it very peculiar because what we're going to do next is purposefully split the sauce. And what I mean by that is we're going to put some of it into a pan, bring it to temperature, and basically fuck it up. So about a third, no more than a third, is going to go into a small pan. I'm going to heat that up. Right, so we've got our sauce in the pan and we're going to bring that to a medium temperature and let it split. So I'm going to keep stirring it while it's heating up. So I know what you guys are thinking. It's a lot of effort for a sauce, but it's totally inspired by one of my favorite restaurants in town, in London, and in Paris, Le Relais de Venise. Again, more French, pardon my French. This is one of their sort of like speciality sauces. They only do one thing and it's steak, chips, and this sauce. And I love it. It's very well loved. And yeah, there's a lot of effort, but we all know good things require a lot of patience and effort. So you see that sauce there now has split. That means that you can see the oils are separating from the solids slightly. I'm going to stir that for a couple more minutes and then I'm going to add it back to the other sauce. So at this part here, I think we're really cooking out those herbs and all those flavors, that like lovely sauce all together, and then it sort of softens it a little bit. Otherwise it's very herbal sauce right now. It smells incredible. So let's talk about my meat. We've got bavette here, also known as flank steak. And typically with a bavette, you're going to have one bit here that's slightly thinner and smaller, slightly thicker in the middle, and then it won't cook evenly if you put that directly in the pan. And I'm not sure who has a pan this size. So what I'm going to do is cut it into 3 pieces. So one there, one down here. So I'll end up with this piece of steak here. And that's the bit I'm going to use for the steak frites today. So I'm going to oil this up and season it, and then let's get it cooking in the pan. So bavette is actually a fairly thin piece of steak compared to, say, a ribeye or sirloin. So it's going to cook very quickly. But what we want to do is get a nice char brown on the outside. So that pan's got to be smoking hot. I'm using these chef presses to keep that pushed down and nice and coloured evenly. I'm just checking the internal temperature of the steak. I like the steak medium rare, so what I'm aiming for is about 50 degrees centigrade. That's about right, so I'm going to take this off. We're nearly there. Let's finish the sauce. We've got the split part, now it's cooled down slightly. That's going to go in. Just giving a little season up. It's a little thick, so I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice just to loosen it up a bit. It's still nice and warm. Let's give it a taste. Ooh. Far out. It's so fresh, so vibrant, but packed full of umami. So good. All right, it's time to carve the meat. Now with bavette, you're going to see it's very visible which direction the muscles go. You want to cut against that. So instead of this way, we're going to cut this way. That's going to end up with a much more tender piece of meat. And with bavette, I like to slice it fairly thin, otherwise it can be quite chewy. I love a bit of pink meat. Season her up just by gently rubbing in a little bit of salt. Now it's just time to plate up. All right, good dollop of fries, the green sauce. I'm going to put it underneath. And then the steak. And because it wouldn't be a steak frites without some sort of mustardy salad, I got some pea shoots dressed with a Dijon mustard dressing to finish. Now, after all that hard work, I am starving and I can't wait to dive into this. So I'm just going to go for it. You do need steak knives for bavette, but we cut it nice and thin. Right, I'm going to get a nice piece of that sauce. It's tangy, it's herbal, but it's got loads of umami. Far out. That's delicious. Yeah, sorry, I had to go for seconds. It reminds me, actually, that going for seconds is at the restaurant, the Relais de Venise, it's like when you finished your meal, you think you're done, and then they come out with a second round. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving. And now that you know how to make it at home, you can give that gift to somebody else. I hope you like this recipe, guys, because I love this kind of food. It's perfect for, you know, winter's coming in, and it's like a perfect date night food as well. Maybe I should get my date to come in and try it. Come on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, all right.
Oh, I wasn't talking about you.
Cheeky. All right, so let's give this a little whirl, shall we? I mean, this looks pretty good. I've been to Le Relais de Venise a few times.
Oh, you say it way better than I do.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, let's give it a go, shall we?
Yeah. See if it comes close to, you know, those date nights we've had where we've been queuing in the rain for hours, haven't we? I think the longest we waited was about an hour.
Oh, straight away, you get that tang. Like, I'm not even going to pause my thoughts here because I know that's like, if you close your eyes, you're already there. I'll say it's pretty close.
I mean, it's a closely guarded secret, like the actual sauce that they do.
I think theirs is a little looser. Maybe it's watered down a little bit more.
I
don't know,
do
so
like my sauces that coat the meat nicely, though.
Yeah, it's got a bit more thickness to it, but yeah, and obviously as the butter gets cooler, it sort of thickens up a bit even more. Whereas theirs, they put a little tea candle underneath so it always stays hot. They do that to the chips and probably...
I think it's just to get everything nice and warm.
Yeah, it's always nice and warm.
When they serve you seconds as well. An affordable way to keep everything warm.
Very good, very good.
Happy?
Yeah, good lunch, good dinner. Thank you very much.
Right. Oh, you can't put that on. No PDA on camera.
Excellent.
The bloopers. I'm not very good at outros. I'll just eat the chips.
I think people would watch you eat chips for a few minutes.
I bet they'll watch anything for a few minutes, darling. Whoops. So you want the full recipe? It'll be on auntielizcooks.com. But if you want all the tips and tricks, like choosing the perfect steak, what's the temperature that you need to cook for a perfect medium rare steak, you'll find that on my Patreon page. Both will be linked in the description below. See you again next week.